Menu Kassin, King Charles, who happened to be king of the United Kingdom, or the Simbi Ababe Tuja. Now, recently, we all knew, say, Ghana had Lucia Asantehemaa, which Otumfuo City did very well by actually giving a very significant barrier. I know, I say, I feel kind of best because I need a dotty sapepe. But now, no Menu Kassi, Birmingham Palace, or my responded to a year Otumfuo City to Asantehemaa, Asantehemaa, Mohema, or my pass. Honestly, don't do this for any tribe in Africa except Otumfuo City to. In December na King Charles Aircam yemfa press release we and two screens no so in some way na King Charles ankasa Troy and his signature was here. I see Birmingham Palace, okay. His Majesty, wow, also own power no or best start no try His Majesty no also. And you know quite debut or try His man with pen. I was profoundly saddened to learn of your recent death of your dear sister, Asantehemaa. Above all, I wanted to send my deepest sympathy to your Majesty and the Yoko and all the people of the Ashanti Kingdom at this time. So King Charles from Birmingham Palace po otiasie se Asantefoɔ no omo clan bi anabusun bi efe the Yoko clan and o se otiye na ne ya atunu ne esu enu no sisi ane de se na ne maame Queen Elizabeth wu ye ne ya Asantefoɔ any offense to 242 ebeja ne kwan no saa so and all send the same warmest condolence and sympathy to the people of Ashanti, the Yoko clan, and the kingdom. Also, Her Royal Majesty demonstrated a deep devotion to preserving the traditions and unity of the Ashanti throughout her life, and served as an exemplar of wise, fair, and gracious judgment and counsel. Anybody say, Asantehemaa when you're the baby koye no, na oyobia otuni who see what say Asantefoɔ amamre no ebe kwaso akoso. Also no, Asante Empire na clans be no mababe form ya one and also making sure so nyina no oma ye kro ye and also no na ogina ho ma nyansa njina so and also no na oyobi a opatentenene and na oyobi so na ochechech nkofo ade or ye guidance. Aside from that, Opache said with her many years in experience of guidance, leadership, and tireless service to charitable causes which are the lives of so many mothers and their children, Her Royal Majesty leaves a lasting legacy for your kingdom. Her passing is immense loss which I know will be keenly felt in the Ashanti community around the world. So Opache said in all of these things are akosono. Because Asantehemaa no you be wa sena na obwan krofo sena ya ode no nkose niema ebu amansan no osanso oye otu ne husi wo se oye obia maame niema na oye yina no aye ahyensode a for centuries any infia pema ebeba no ebe wo nkrofo so anase ebe wo ho amaya tro ne aboy ne kai se woman we yemfentu ye hofo na Opache sisi ane de Asantefoɔ nyina mu wiase nyina no ocheche mo re yento aso. My special thanks and prayers are with you, Your Majesty, and your family at this very sad time, and my wife joins me in sending our most heartfelt condolences to all those who share in your mourning. Ni Opache sisi ane de one ne yire Queen Camilla, right? Omo Opache say omo de I don't know, but omudi dwato and also they are sharing our pain. I don't know how to put it. Say yesu no omu tayechi omu suni yesu nti ebesi bia no omaton krama say yenkuse and omacho Your Majesty I was signing wo. And people on social media are saying say if they don't do this for any king and do this for Ashanti region, and yes the issue of the Doma king and also the issue of unity and yes I don't assume because ohini baako pe and King Charles recognizing the whole of Africa there and Obeka say who is Doma. Anyways, in regards to that, no mino kase Nigeria president oko UN recently no na e was say oko kasa but then we are learning say wentiba nko adan ya yenim na Emerson Vice eko kan simbi e wo ho yentie kakra ye babaka. We have another news pending right here on this particular platform.
Madam President, Mr. Secretary General, Excellencies, Heads of State and Government, distinguished delegates. The chaos that shadows our world is a reminder that we cannot afford the luxury of inaction. We have been consumed by our differences had there been no community such as this to remind us that we are one human family. Even in our darkest hours, we have refused to be broken. This community was born from the ashes of despair, a vehicle for order, and for the shared assurance that we could not afford to falter again. Our belief in this community is not a posture of moral superiority, but an undying faith in the redemption of humanity. It is, therefore, with profound humility that I stand before you today as Vice President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria on behalf of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu to renew this pledge on behalf of my country. Madam President, Nigeria joins the Committee of Nations in congratulating you on your election as the President of the General Assembly for the 88th session, and assure you of our unalloyed support during your tenure. I commend your predecessor, my brother, His Excellency Philemon Yang, and the Secretary General, His Excellency Antonio Guterres, for their outstanding stewardship and unifying leadership during these extraordinary times. This anniversary must not be a sentimental retreat into nostalgia. It must be a moment of truth, a pause to measure where we have stumbled and how we might have done better in turning our values into action that meets the demands of today. We are here to deliver a world of peace and development where the respect for human rights is paramount. We must recalibrate the delicate balance between our roles as sovereign governments and our duties as collective partners to renew multilateralism in a world that has evolved far beyond what it was in 1945. The pace of change across borders is a force without pause. It manifests in the tools of technology, in the movements of information and finance, in the corrosive ideologies that preach violence and division, in the gathering storm of the climate emergency, and in the tide of irregular migration. We must own this process of change. When we speak of nuclear disarmament, the proliferation of small weapons, Security Council reform, fair access to trade and finance, and the conflicts and human suffering across the world, we must recognize the truth. These are stains on our collective humanity. For all our careful diplomatic language, the slow pace of progress on these hardy perennials of the UN General Assembly debate has led some to look away from the multilateral model. Some years ago, I noticed a shift at this gathering. Key events were beginning to take place outside this hall, and the most sought-after voices were no longer heads of state. These are indeed troubling times. Nigeria remains firmly convinced of the merits of multilateralism. But to sustain that conviction, we must show that existing structures are not set in stone. We must make real change, change that works, and change that is seen to work. If we fail, the direction of travel is already predictable. We are here to strengthen the prospects for peace, development, and human rights. Madam President, I want to make 4 points today to outline how we can do this. 1, Nigeria must have a permanent seat at the UN Security Council. This should take place. This should take place as part of a wider process of institutional reform. 2, we need urgent action to promote sovereign debt relief and access to trade and financing. 3, countries that host minerals must benefit from those minerals. And 4th, the digital divide must close. As our friend the Secretary General has said, AI must stand for Africa included. On my first point, the United Nations will recover its relevance only when it reflects the world as it is, not as it was. Nigeria's journey tells this story with clarity. When the UN was founded, we were a colony of 20 million people. Absent from the tables where decisions about our fate were taken. Today, we are a sovereign nation of 236 million people, projected to be the third most populous country in the world, with one of the youngest and most dynamic populations on earth, a stabilizing force in regional security, and a consistent partner in global peacemaking. Our case for permanent seat as the Security Council is a demand for fairness, for representation, and for reform that restores credibility to the very institution upon which the hope of multilateralism rests. This is why Nigeria stands firmly behind the UN-80 initiative of the UN Secretary General and the resolution adopted by this Assembly on 18 July 2025. A bold step to reform the wider United Nations system.
Okay, so that's saying Nigeria for representative and all Kasama, president, because president no